Hello everyone and welcome back to Lovely Grind. My name is Michael Prevey and my website is www.lovelygrind.com. That's where you're going to find blog posts about professional fulfillment, total health, as well as a balanced approach to daily living and overall happiness. This current series of videos that I'm doing, as some of you who have been following me already know, is about prescription drug withdrawal and surviving that process and recovering from that process. I took antidepressants, specifically Paxil, as well as a tranquilizer, Xanax, for over a dozen years when I was a bit younger. Several years ago, in my mid-30s, I stopped taking those. And when that withdrawal hit me, I went through a lot of things, went through a lot of pain. I also found some inner strength, and I vowed to share some of the things I learned with others if I survived the process. So that's what I'm doing right now. And the topic that I'd like to touch on today, the thing I'd like to share with you all today, those of you out there who are going through the withdrawal or perhaps have a family member who is going through it, is the idea of being gentle with oneself while you're going through the withdrawal process. I took a good amount of those medicines that I just mentioned. From my early 20s all the way to my mid-30s, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety, whatever that means, as well as acute panic attacks. That happened to me in college. I was put on the medicines, and I never really questioned the fact that I needed them until many years later. I had lost a lot of energy, put on a lot of weight. I was experiencing some emotional problems. A lot of things were pointing to the simple fact that it was time for me to stop taking those medicines. And I mistakenly assumed that when I stopped taking them, my life would automatically get better. Now that's not what happened. As many of you out there know who are going through withdrawal, your life gets a little worse actually when you first stop taking those pills. And it can last for quite a while. It can last for not only weeks or months, but 18 months or a couple of years, as it did for me, and I've heard for others it can last even longer. But the good news is, the truth of the matter is, there is recovery at some point, and there is going to be improvement at all the points in between stopping those pills and a full recovery. So I want everyone out there first to keep the recovery in mind, keep the reality that it's going to happen in mind, and second, I want you to keep in mind the fact that you have to be gentle with yourself during the process. So that's really the topic for today's video. Being gentle with yourself during the recovery process. Now, when I was hit by withdrawal, I was hit by all the regular symptoms, all the usual suspects: fatigue, flu-like symptoms, anxiety, depression, strange pains I couldn't figure out where they were coming from, rapid heartbeat, anything you can imagine. I was pretty much hit with it, and it really beat me up. It wore me down and beat me up. But not only did those physical and mental pains beat me up, what happened then was I began to beat myself up. I began to be filled with regret for mistakes I made as a teenager, mistakes I made during my 20s and early 30s, mistakes I made professionally or in friendships or in my marriage or to God, mistakes of any sort. I really began to beat myself up with regret over past mistakes, and I began to beat myself up with the idea that I wasn't recovering fast enough. Why wasn't I recovering? Why couldn't I fight it off? I was trying so hard with exercise, diet changes, going on message boards, trying to find positive information about those who had recovered, but I just couldn't shake it. Now, one of the reasons I believe that I couldn't shake it a little more quickly is because I didn't learn quickly enough to be patient with myself. When you're not patient with yourself, one of the things that is going to do is kind of put a wall between you and the emotional and mental parts of recovery. And then in turn, that kind of exacerbates the physical part of withdrawal, and it all snowballs on itself. You have to just kind of let go of it, have a little faith in the process, in the concept that time's going to take care of it. Have some patience with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. If you think of past mistakes during the withdrawal process, take note of them. If need be, repent of them and move on. Move forward. Don't sit there and dwell on those things. And if you have things that you want to accomplish I had so many things I wanted to accomplish. Once I stopped taking these pills, I wanted to run 5 miles at a time. I wanted to be able to lift weights. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to do so many things. I simply wasn't physically or mentally or emotionally able to do all those things right away. But you have to be patient with yourself and know that those things will come. Be gentle with yourself. Take really small steps each day and be glad when you have accomplished taking those small steps. If you're feeling overwhelmed, set smaller goals for yourself, things that you can accomplish. Feel good about getting the tasks of daily life accomplished. Getting the car washed, getting the lawn mowed, playing with your child, having a coffee with your spouse, keeping your job, just keeping your head above water, just staying alive each day. Feel good about those little steps. And when you can, and I've said it before in almost all of these videos, and I'll say it again, exercise is important, but I know some of you can't do a great deal at first. So walk a half mile, walk 2 miles, whatever it is, just keep active. It's going to pay off really, really exponentially as time goes on. So remember, be gentle with yourself. Also, don't get overwhelmed. If you're someone who is looking to do some self-improvement, you look out on the internet, you see guys like Tony Robbins, and you look to some of your idols, some of the titans of industry or professional athletes, and you see these people, and it appears that they never sleep. They're running 12 companies, at the same time. They're writing books. They're going on speaking tours. They're running their families. Some are running the country, but don't believe all the hype. Even those people have a lot of help. Do what you can and feel good about doing it at the time. One person can only accomplish so much in 24 hours, and one person who has just been hit with withdrawal is limited for a certain period of time. Part of what you're going through and part of the recovery is going to be accepting those limitations to a small extent. Now, I would never say to accept them indefinitely, but for a small period of time, accept certain limitations on your mental and physical energy and learn to work within the constraints of those as far as setting goals go. So set those goals, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe pare them back just a little bit so that you can still have that well-deserved feeling of accomplishment at the end of each day and at the end of each week. Because withdrawal is a process of moving forward. It's not sitting still, it's not moving backward. When you were on the pills, to tell you the truth, you were sitting still and you were moving backward, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Now you're moving forward. So just surviving day to day is a step moving forward. So feel good about that. Now, ironically, the more gentle you are with yourself, sometimes the more quickly you're going to recover. Because as I said, that's going to kind of remove that wall between you and the all-important emotional and mental aspects of recovery. And again, once you're able to kind of be at peace with yourself, be at peace with what you're accomplishing and with the process and how long it takes, then you're able to relax your body and recover physically a little more fully as well. Now for me, people often ask, how long was I on these drugs and how long did it take to recover? Again, I was on them for between 12 and 14 years. I'd have to look exactly at this point to see what the exact number of months was. And the recovery, I had a period of acute, which was maybe, 4 to 6 months. And then I had further, what I'll call, post-acute, but not full recovery that lasted another, 12 to 18 months. So after 2 years, there was really a lot of healing and a lot of it was behind me. But still, if I don't take proper care of myself, even at this point, even after several years having stopped, I can feel certain fatigue creeping back in, or certain intrusive thoughts or self-defeating thoughts, and certain anxieties creep up. So it really prompts you, this withdrawal process, to continue taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, as you should have been all along. But again, this process is going to force you to be even greater than you were before and to really be ahead of the curve compared to a lot of the population, because you're being forced to pay attention to these all-important things, these all-important aspects of personal development. So just remember, please be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with the process. Set your goals, but pare them back a little bit. Tone them down if you have to in order to get that sense of accomplishment. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up for past mistakes or for how long the process is taking now. You're doing everything you can, and if you continue to just walk one foot in front of the other one day at a time towards, 6 months off, 8 months off, 2 years off, you're really, after a while, going to start seeing all those great improvements pile on top of one another, and you're not going to be able to believe all the progress you've made after a period of time. I also want to mention, I know a lot of you send me messages on this YouTube channel or via email. I think about you guys a lot. I pray for all you guys all the time, that God will give some relief and give some touch, his hand on your shoulder every morning to all those people, all of you out there who are going through this recovery process, because I know it is such a frightening process. It seems like you're staring the devil in the face. It seems like you're staring the grave in the face. It is really that dire and that serious, and I think some people who haven't gone through it don't understand that, but I do understand that. And just know that I'll answer your messages. I'll do my best to reach out to all of you when you reach out to me, answer your questions, and I'm praying for you every morning. So please remember to be gentle with yourself. Remember to be patient with the process. Remember to keep faith in yourself, and most importantly in God. You're not alone in this process. Recovery is on its way. Please subscribe to my website again, lovelygrind.com. That's where you're going to find some blog posts, and I also have a blog post related to this message that I'll be putting out shortly. So please, you can subscribe to my mailing list there to get all of those. And remember to please, if you would, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Stay connected here, stay positive, and until next time, take care of yourself and your dreams.